All right, we're here today to provide an update on the case regarding the shooting of Officer Ortiz and the murder of Officer Mendez, which occurred last Thursday, October 12th. Before I step aside for you to receive the details of the actual arrest, I want to publicly thank everyone for their support that they have given this department, have given the family of Officer Mendez and Officer Ortiz. We've received condolences from President Biden, Governor Shapiro, all of our elected city and state officials, both past and present, former commissioners of this department, the director of the FBI, and a host of others, both law enforcement and non-law enforcement. And it's greatly appreciated just to know that we had that type of support in the time that we needed the most. And so it's something I just wanted to acknowledge. The FOP and SALEA, which is the Spanish American Law Enforcement Association, they have done a tremendous job in wrapping their arms around this family, as well as wrapping their arms around Officer Ortiz, as well as the Airport District and the 25th Police District. The FOP has been able to secure donations from a number of different individuals, combined with some of the city's reward money, totaling an amount of $237,400 is where it's at this point in time. I also want to take a moment to thank all of the homicide and shooting investigation group investigators, as well as the supervisors who have worked endlessly since this occurred, and along with all of our partners from the FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, New Jersey State Police, Pennsylvania State Police, and the District Attorney's Office. And I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but we have had tremendous help from our law enforcement partners, both in this city and across this country. Not just the support in terms of them calling and giving their condolences, but their support in this investigation. Just also want you to know, our homicide investigators, obviously you know they spent so much time on this investigation, but it doesn't mean that they don't stop working on the other homicide investigations. In fact, over the weekend, in addition to this investigation, they were able to make 2 arrests for 2 other homicides, unrelated, as well as securing a warrant for an additional homicide. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there, because sometimes the thought is that we spend all of our focus and attention just on a police-related murder, but that's not the case. We obviously have all of our partners here supporting us, and that's the support and the work that they do every day. But I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to turn it over to First Deputy Venor to give all of the specifics and the details surrounding the investigation at this point in time, as well as the arrest itself. And then you will hear from Council Member Ketsi Lozada, who is a friend of the family of Officer Mendez, and she'll provide some remarks on behalf of their family, as well as on behalf of Officer Ortiz.
All right. Good afternoon. Just to go back to what we talked about previous, we identified the decedent from last week as Jesus Morera Durant. We believe he was involved in the incident, as we told you in the past, but we also believe he had up to 3 accomplices that day. And over the weekend, we were able to develop probable cause on one of the individuals by the name of Yobranny Martinez Fernandez, 18-year-old male from Camden County, New Jersey. We believe that individual participated in the theft of the vehicle and was subsequently involved in the shooting homicides of Officer Ortiz, Officer Mendez, as well as the individual that was with them, Jesus Durant. We believe that one of these accomplices was responsible for firing a firearm, which shot all 3 of these individuals. That's what the evidence is showing us at this time. That is preliminary, but that's right now what we have. We are working very hard to obtain more evidence on additional individuals. Just to give you a little bit of details into what happened today, approximately 2 a.m., investigators received information that the individual, Martinez Fernandez, was in the area of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They proceeded to a location there, and approximately just before 4 a.m., U.S. Marshals, FBI, and members of the New Jersey State Police, as well as the Homicide Division, moved in and were able to effect the arrest of the individual. Lieutenant Fry, who's standing just to my right, she was able to place Officer Richard Mendez's cuffs on the defendant when he was processed and transported to New Jersey State Police. He's currently there waiting extradition to Philadelphia for charges of murder. All right, I'm going to turn things over right now to Councilwoman Lozada to speak on the family, and then we'll answer any questions.
Good afternoon. Richie was a friend, and so was Officer Ortiz. I'd like, before I share their brief statement, I'd like to also thank everyone who has reached out to me, to my office, to my staff who worked very closely with Richie during his time in the 25th Police District. We are grateful for all of the love and support that we've received as well. As I mentioned, I had an opportunity to meet with the Mendez family this afternoon, and they asked me to share the following statement. We appreciate the people for reaching out and we are grateful for the overwhelming amount of support we've received. But at this time, we're asking for you to please allow us time to grieve. Richie was a great man who was loved by many, and we will continue to love him through the memories we have of him. He was an upstanding family man. Family was his #1 priority. As a son, husband, and father, his daughter Mia was his pride and joy, along with his wife Alexandra. To his family, he was the person everyone went to when they didn't know what to do. Richie's response was always, "We will figure it out together." The officers who worked with him will tell you that he was an asset to the police force. Richie Mendez led by example. He never complained and always was willing to help. No matter what the assignment, he showed up ready and with a positive attitude. He received his master's degree in 2019 and had plans to become a college professor after retiring. Mia is currently in college and will be sure to make her dad proud. Once again, from the family, we appreciate your love and support. Mia, Alexandra, and family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thanks, everyone. For a few minutes, we're going to take some Q&A, but I'm going to remind you again, we're still very early into it. It's going to be a long and drawn-out investigation, so we're going to be limited into the responses that we can give. So, we're going to start right there.
I just wanted to know, did the reward encourage someone to give up this information about where to find the latest suspect?
Well, as Sergeant Grip said, we're still very active in the investigation, so I'm not going to comment on where the information came from. One thing I do want to say is we need more. We need more people to call. We still have at least 2 individuals who are at large, and there could be more that are out of the sight of that vehicle or what the officers were able to see. So we're encouraging the people to call. There's still a reward.
Would you say his name again for the person you've arrested?
Sure.
How do you think whether he's involved in an organization with the 18-year-old who was killed that's coming over to steal cars here at the airport?
So it's Yobranny Martinez Fernandez, okay? I'm not going to comment on an organization. We are working with the state police as well as our federal partners on seeing if this is an organization and how much they're involved in. We're not quite there yet to say, but that'll come at a later date, and it's still active. That investigation's still active also.
Yeah,
Sure. Well, he'll send it out to you. We'll send it out to
push
you.
it out to all of you shortly, okay? The mugshot, he's still with New Jersey, but the spelling, those lieutenants now to Yobranny, Yobranny, Martinez, common spelling, Z, Fernandez, Fernandez, 18 years old.
Do you believe that this young man also has the missing gun?
We still haven't recovered the gun. We don't know who has the gun. So we have him in our custody. We do not have the gun.
Is it believed that he pulled the trigger?
We can't say at this point. We believe one of the accomplices of Duran pulled the trigger. We just don't have all the answers yet in the investigation. We're working towards them now.
Do you know whether the officer's service weapon, Frank, was fired? Have you been able to figure that out? What do the FCCs tell you?
Through the evidence, we don't believe it was, but we don't have definitive answers. Obviously, the gun would help us make those definitive answers. But right now, we don't believe so. We don't believe Officer Mendez fired his weapon.
What evidence are you thinking to elaborate on that led you to finding this individual?
Well, that's part of the active investigation. We need to find the other individuals, so I'm not going to get too technical. We received information from the public. We obviously recovered some video. We have ballistic evidence, and we have other evidence that we've recovered that are helping us, leading us to these individuals. And a lot of the investigation that's been done on the east side of the river into some of these individuals played a big part in us identifying them very quickly.
Mr. Oldham, either for the Deputy Commissioner or Commissioner Stanford, this year there have been 17,000 cars stolen in the city, 40% higher than this date last year. Is there any recalibration of how you are going to try to bring that number not only into control, but and now there's an officer who lost his life trying to intercede in one of these deaths? Can you give us some insight?
Well, in terms of the stolen cars, I mean, we know that earlier this year, a lot of the stolen cars were related to the TikTok challenge regarding how to be able to get into Kias and those vehicles and Hyundais. As a result of that, we gave out clubs. We worked with those dealers to be able to hand out some clubs. A lot of those were related to that. We have, again, over the past year, put together a task force that focuses on the carjackings and things of that nature. This group here, it seems that, as DC Venora alluded to, they were doing work in Jersey and not necessarily all related in the city. Some of it related in the city, but that is an investigation that again, we are going to be working with our partners there to be able to move some things forward. Don't want to get too much into that, but obviously we know that there's a bigger issue based on the work that we're uncovering at this point in time, both here and around the surrounding areas.
Do you believe Officer Martinez struggled with or wrestled with the suspects at the airport? And if Mendez, and if his gun isn't fired, how's the 18-year-old get hit?
Officer Mendez, and what we know is that we believe that both Ortiz and Mendez attempted to apprehend at least one of the individuals. We think by the evidence someone came behind him and fired a weapon. If that individual was in front of him, they could have very easily been struck by those bullets that are moving in the direction of the officer from behind. So that's just what the evidence shows. We're not definitive of that yet. We're moving towards getting more information.
Sir, sorry, can you confirm if the parking lot there are no cameras?
Yeah, we're not going to confirm in terms of that. That's an issue that will be addressed outside of this in terms of whether it be with the airport, whether it be with the entities that are responsible for managing that and overseeing that. But that's not going to be something that we're going to get too much into today as to what we were able to ascertain in terms of video or cameras or things of that nature.
All right. This time the airport is not giving any information about that. Just they say the DPD had to respond for this safety in the airport.
So, I mean, as far as the safety at the airport, I mean, we have a contingent of officers that are federally mandated to work at the airport. We strive to make sure that we ensure that is maintained in terms of all of the safety parameters that could be taken. I mean, that is a conversation that we will be having with the airport as to how they can install, better lighting, additional lighting, cameras, more cameras, in specific spaces. PPD doesn't have the control of putting up cameras all throughout the airport, and so that's just something that we'll have to work on, and we'll have to, have some further meetings to make sure that the areas is as safe as possible. But we have that staffed, and again, our officers are out there. Obviously, this is an example of that in terms of how they're there, present, and intervening when they can.
Real quick, folks, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you very much. I know you have a lot of questions, and we're going to continue to work to push that information out as we get it. Would like to again thank all of our partners, our law enforcement partners, our community partners, and our partners in the media. Thank you for getting this information out there. Again, we'd like to reiterate, it's $237,000 right now. We still have folks out there that we're looking for, okay? As far as this one second, ma'am. As far as this one suspect goes, we will be pushing out information along with his mugshot. We're going to see if we can get that information from New Jersey State Police, because he's being held as a fugitive over there right now, so we do not have our own mugshot photo to release. But once we have it, we will push it out. Last question, ma'am.
Would you like to speak on how the tone is internally with officers right now? I know you kind of touched on that Friday. I know it probably hasn't changed, but it's not that.
Yeah, I mean, the tone, obviously, you know, experiencing something like this is not going to go away in a matter of days. I mean, this week in itself, we have 2 funerals that for one is for our commander, the other is for an officer. Both were active duty, and then we're preparing ourselves for next week. We know that, you know, the Officer Mendez's funeral will be Tuesday with a viewing on Monday, and so it's going to be a pretty somber mood, I would say, for the next few weeks. And I mean, just on the heels of just knowing what policing has been and the need for support. But I think our women and men are rallying around each other in terms of just being there for each other and understanding that we have to do that and we will do that. And again, as I stated earlier, the support that we've received from so many different people outside of this department has been a tremendous help. And again, I would ask the public, I would ask anyone, you know, under the sound of my voice, that if you know some police officer or you encounter a police officer, it's okay to tell them that you appreciate them. It's okay to say thank you for your service. It's okay to let them know that you support them. And again, we need that every day of the week, but particularly now more than ever. And so we're going to get through it together. And again, having the city support us, having everyone in every community support us is what we need.
Thank you all again. We'll have that information out as soon as we can. Thank you all for coming.